everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 4 tips in this video covering Saturday and Sunday's card at Newmarket. You will be able to bet at the current time of recording on the race I'm putting up for Sunday, which will be the 1,000 guineas. And the reason I'm doing that is because I won't have time to record tomorrow evening, so apologies for that. But yeah, let's get stuck into it then. Obviously the Guineas meeting this weekend, 2 fantastic days at Newmarket, and hopefully lots of flat clues moving forward. So we're going to get into the first race and the first tip that I'm going to be giving you, and it runs in the 225 at Newmarket. It's the Group 3 Palace House Stakes, where I'm going here with a horse called Garrus for James Doyle and Charlie Hills. Now this horse at the time recording was available at 6 to 1, and that was available with Paddy Power and Betfair, and I'm going to recommend a 0.5 each way selection here to kick things off. Now this horse was a good second, I thought, last time at Newbury, where it was running in a handicap and it had to give away a bit of weight to the eventual winner, Came From the Dark. Now that horse is going to be reopposing Garrus tomorrow in this race, and it means that Garrus is going to be much better off at the weight, so I think that's in his favour. But I think there could be quite a lot more to come from this horse. He's a really interesting horse, actually. If you go back through his early career, he was actually previously trained by Jeremy Noceda, and he showed quite a good bit of ability. I remember when he won a race at York where he beat Soldier's Cool for Archie Watson, who was no mug himself. He was a very decent sprinter for the Clipper Logistics group, but he definitely showed some good promise as a 3-year-old, and he kind of lost his way after his first few runs. We didn't see him last year, but since he's been running this year, he's put 2 good efforts up. He won a conditions race at Wolverhampton first time up, and I thought he ran a really good race last time out at Newbury, and I think he could still have more to come, and he's definitely worth a shot in this grade. I think he's got a good chance of making the frame tomorrow. He's also as well got a good draw and stall weight. I imagine James Doyle would like to be handy, as this horse likes to be ridden, and he'll come towards the stand side rail, which could be a golden highway. We always say it in Newmarket, and sometimes it really does favour those prominent horses. So I think Garrus has got a lot in his favour tomorrow, a bit more untapped potential, and I'm hoping he can get us off to a good start. So that's why he's going to be my selection in the 225 at Newmarket. We then go to the nap of the weekend, which runs in the 3 o'clock, the Group 2 Jockey Club Stakes, and I'm going to be going here with Sir Ron Priestley for Franny Norton and Mark Johnston. Now at the current time recording, you can back this horse at 2 to 1. I'm going to recommend a 1-point win bet here. Now this horse I think will just win this race tomorrow. Obviously was a very progressive 3-year-old, came through the handicap ranks and then was rewarded with that consistency for finishing second in the St Ledger at Doncaster behind Logician. Unfortunately, we never got to see him as a 4-year-old, but on his return this season, he was a very good winner of a listed race at Nottingham, beating Ocean Wind, who ran a really respectable race in the Sagaro Stakes on Royal Ascot Trials Day behind Stradivarius earlier this week. So the form was given a boost, and I think he might just have a fitness edge on some of his rivals tomorrow. I'm not sure Pile Driver might not be as good as 4-year-old as he was at 3. He might just need the run, in my opinion. In Newmarket as well might not be his track, where I think Sir Ron Priestley, I think this will suit him no problem at all. I expect him to get an easy lead, make the run, and he might just have too much class for them. Now Al-Zahran as well is probably his chief danger to me on paper, anyone, the one I would be most afraid of. However, even though he did win a handicap at Kempton last time out, and the form really has been boosted, if you actually check that race out and you go through all the horses right down to the minor placings, a lot of them have actually come out and won on their next start. So it was actually quite a good race. But for me, I just think he could be found out here. He could be a little bit inexperienced, and he might not take to the track, whereas Sir Ron Priestley is the class angle for me. And I think he could be a really exciting horse moving forward for Mark Johnston this season. And I can just see Franny Norton going to the front now, dictating the sectionals and getting it right. And I think he could go off maybe round about 5 to 4 tomorrow. I think he could be really strong in the betting. So that's why he's going to be my nap of the day. We then go to my next best, which is going to be running in the 2,000 guineas. Now this isn't going to be a particularly original selection here, but I'm going to put up Wembley as my pick in the 2,000 guineas and my next best. You can currently get him at 4 to 1 with William Hill, who are offering 5 places on this race. I'm going to recommend a 1-point each way selection here, even though, yes, if he does finish in the first 5, you do make a small loss. I do think he'll go very close, and that's why I'm putting him up each way. Now, I think he deserves to be favourite, really, or I think he's the most likely winner to me. He's been my ideal candidate for the race ever since he finished second in the Dewhurst, where he was a bit unlucky that day. I actually did back Sir Mark's Basilica who got first run in my opinion, and the soft ground probably suited him more. Now St Mark's Basilica isn't going to be running in this race, but you have to remember that race was over 7 furlongs, and the Guineas obviously is going to be going over a mile, and Wembley's going to be stepping up in trip tomorrow. And the way that he finished off his race, drawn on the wrong side of the track, he was drawn in stall 2 that day, flying home. You think that's really going to suit him, and he's got a pedigree for a middle distance horse, so going up in trip I think will really suit him. Another good run of his was when he finished second in the National Stakes behind Thunder Moon. Now a lot of people saying Thunder Moon is their ideal pick tomorrow, but for me I don't think he is at all. I think Wembley was a bit unlucky in that National Stakes, and I think if that race had been over a mile, because remember that race was over 7 miles, I think Wembley would have picked him off. I'm really keen on Wembley's chances tomorrow. Drawn in stall 8, that's not too bad at all, and obviously Aidan O'Brien has got a fantastic record in this race. Another key point I just want to mention is actually the last 3 winners of this race have won the Verton Futurity Stakes, or the old Racing Post Trophy. And Max Sweeney, unfortunately, isn't going to be lining up this year. I believe he's going to the Irish 2000 Guineas. But remember, Wembley was an even money favourite for that race and was a late withdrawal due to the ground. And I think he would have won too. So if he had won that race, I think he would have been head and heels above the rest in the betting for this race. And if you look at the last couple of winners, Kamiko, Magna Grecia, Saxon Warrior, they all won that race at Doncaster before going on to win the 2000 Guineas, so that's always the best trial. But talking in terms of trials, obviously we've had the Greenham, we've had the Nell Gwen and the one over in Ireland and all those kind of trials. These trials, especially for the colts, they don't normally provide us with a winner. If you actually look at, again, the last few winners, obviously there was no Guineas trial last year, but Magna Grecia and Saxon Warrior, they didn't come off the back of a run earlier in the season. They came here fresh and they were ripe for the occasion. And I think horses that maybe have been running in trials could be a bit of a negative. Obviously it's good being fit, but I wouldn't maybe take that query into it so much with the fitness edge. I think Wembley will be spot on for this race tomorrow, and I think it's really going to suit him and play into his hands. And obviously Ryan Moore has picked him, and at 4-1 I think he's got so much in his favour. I think he is the one they've all got to beat, and I'm really excited about his chances for tomorrow and as a horse to follow later on this season, and fingers crossed Wembley can get the job done. We then go to my long shot, which is going to be running on the Sunday in the 1000 Guineas, the 340 on Sunday. Now this horse is a completely left field selection, and if you already listened to the In the Saddle podcast or the video I did with Shireen Wu, or indeed seen my Twitter feed, you know who it's going to be. And I'm already on at 100-1, but the current price at the time recording is 66-1. That's available with William Hill, 4 places, recommended a 0.5 each way selection, and that horse is going to be Seattle Rock for PJ McDonald and Sylvester Kirk. Now this horse, you're probably thinking, why am I putting such a big price up? Well, I've got a feeling this year we might see a Billiston Brook kind of year. For me, Santa Barbara, she could be the best thing since sliced bread, but coming off of 1 run and now a short price favourite for the 1000 Guineas, you have to be taking horses like that on. It's no good going backing them, in my opinion. Obviously, you've got to respect Aidan O'Brien, and obviously they must think the world of her. But if you actually look at another horse he's running called the Queen's Speech, or I'm not sure if Queen's Speech got entered in the end, but at the time they were poles apart in the betting. But Queen's Speech had achieved a higher RPR after 1 run after their debut, so who knows. But yeah, the vibes have been really strong around Santa Barbara, but you have to take her on, in my opinion. And the reason I'm going for Seattle Rock here is because I do think she will be really underestimated on the day, and she's got some good form that could easily bring her into the frame, especially with those extra places on offer with quite a few firms. Now this horse, Seattle Rock, ran in some good races as a juvenile, most notably finishing 3rd at Royal Ascot in the Chesham, taking on the boys as well. She was a close 3rd behind Battleground, and arguably could have finished 2nd if she didn't hang off the track. You know, she could have maybe got 2nd place and been a lot closer behind Battleground, but she ran a really good race that day. She finished 3rd as well in the Sweet Solera Stakes at Newmarket on the July course, and ran in a couple of other graded contests. Obviously, she is still a maiden, which is a little bit annoying, but we have seen horses like Forever Together. I remember it was a horse I put up I saw in the Oaks a couple of years ago. She hadn't won a race, and then when she did break a maiden tag, it was in the Classic. So these things can happen. But if you go back and watch the last race in the Nell Gwen Stakes, that was a really promising run, I thought, by Seattle Rock. She was a little bit outpaced, but she finished like a steam train in the last furlong or so and beat quite a few rivals on the way home. And if there'd been another 50 yards or so, she probably would have finished in 4th place. And I think she's going to relish stepping up in Trip tomorrow. There's quite a few horses that I'm a little bit concerned about with the Trip at the top of the market, alcohol free. You also as well got Sacred, who I do think could maybe stay the mile, but are improving, whereas Seattle Rock is by Fastnet Rock, who got further, and also as well as out with Monjou and Mare, and a lot of the relatives got up to 1.5 miles. So you think that going up in Trip will really suit this horse, especially by the way she was ridden last time, and if she is ridden cold, she might be able to pick up a place. And I think at 66 to 1, this is a really weak renewal of the 1,000 guineas, in my opinion. I think she's well up to making the frame. So that's why she's going to be my long shot. And I'm really sweet on her to run a big race. So yeah, they're the 4 tips for tomorrow's racing. Let me know what's going to win the guineas. Also as well, let me know your other best bets for the weekend's racing. If you're still enjoying these videos, please remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe here to my YouTube channel at Lucky Loaders 15. Also as well, if you want to follow me on social media, obviously I'll be quiet on it this weekend because everybody in the sporting world, or the majority, are staying silent over the next few days due to the social media issues going on with the racism and that, so I will be quiet. But yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And also as well, please remember to gamble responsibly. Obviously, always bet within your means. Hopefully we can have some winners, and yeah, we'll be seeing you soon.